In the crosscut mode, the maximum width of cut is between 400 and 450 mil, depending on the size of saw you've fitted. But what happens if you've got a wider piece to cut and you couldn't be bothered converting to table saw mode? Well, no problem up to a point. This piece is almost 500 mil wide. As you can see, it hits against my saw blade when my saw's in the fully back position. But very simply, I can raise a saw blade, slide my work underneath it. Now, this sort of cut, a plunge cut, is best only done if you have a front pivoting saw and a fairly tight front pivoting saw. You don't want one that wobbles too much as it's going down. We don't recommend this cut for vertical lift saws because most of them have a very inaccurate pedestal that they mount the saw to, and it only becomes accurate when you tighten the clamping knobs. So this saw should only be done with a firm plunge action if your saw is capable of it, and you may want to spray some lubricant on that slotted strap at the rear, that arm, so that you get a nice smooth action. Then having said that, you can get your saw in position. You can either visually sight it up by looking down through the open guard and touching the saw blade to a pencil line on the work, or you can have your pencil line at the other end of the work and use a notch in the MDF subfences to line you up. But when you're ready to go, close the guard, switch on, hold the work firmly against the fence of course, switch on and make the plunge cut. And that's achieved a perfect step-free cut on my piece, almost 500 millimeters wide. If you do have a wobbly saw as it's coming down, you may get a slight step at the entry point. If you want to cross-cut even wider pieces in the cross-cut mode, then you can gain an extra 170 millimeters of cross-cut capacity by removing the cross-cut fence. Take that out. Now you can get a sheet up to, in this case, 700 mil wide. That's a max for this particular saw. Slide it in underneath the raised saw blade. Support it on a multi-stand if it's a big piece. Now, you'll be resting this wood against the aluminium table support rail, the equivalent of this rail, but at the rear panel. That is also dead square to the work centre, so that'll give you your accuracy. Hold it firmly against that rail, line up your workpiece, and you'll have to sight up your cuts by touching the stationary saw blade against the pencil mark on the wood, but then you'll be doing a plunge cut, like so, and cutting as far as you can. Wait until the saw stops spinning, pull it back a little bit, then you can slide your board back and introduce your fence again, like so. Make sure it's fully home, put the board against the fence, make sure you're dead center in the cut, that you're not deflecting the saw blade one way or the other. There we go, and then you can finish off the cut as normal. And if you line it up correctly, that should be an absolutely perfect cut without a step.